So where's the office, back at Division? Yeah, in the office, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? What time is it? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Now Myers to win the league, yes!
And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Well, hello and welcome to the Below the Rim show, a show dedicated to the BBL. It's me, Pabs. I'm joined as always by my main man, Ads. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Doing really good. I'm down here at the Manchester Basketball Centre, formerly known as the Amici.
Lovely.
So you can hear the bouncing of balls in the background. It's even after Final Fours this weekend, there's people still down there practicing.
Bit of atmosphere. Nothing wrong with that. The human basketball consumption machine that is Io will be joining us shortly. He's just got in from work, so we'll wait for him to be on. But we are joined by a special guest, one of the stars of the moment, in fact, on a very hot streak with the Bristol Flyers. It is, of course, Mr. RAPHELL Thomas-EDWARDS. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I had to beg Adam to kind of get my time in the spotlight.
No
chance.
chance.
You never have to back. I think I invited you like a year ago when we met that time in Manchester.
Oh, this is just delayed. I'm late to the party then. I apologize.
Man, it's perfect time. You know what I mean? We've been talking about getting you on for ages, but no better opportunity than right now, hey?
Well, you're one of the guys we talk about regular in terms of... Because we have this thing we talk about, and we add which we call the JLC column, which is named after Joe Leadham, of course, which is basically... for those players on your team that you need to step up, that can do a bit of everything, that give you the extra 1, 2, 10%, whatever it is you need. You need a 3, you're there. You need a rebound, you're knocking bodies flying. You know, it's that kind of thing. And we talk about you regular for that. And that's one of the reasons we wanted you on the show.
I know, appreciate it. I do my best to try and fit in, get in where I fit in. So whatever is needed for the team.
Well, that's exactly it. Let's talk. Let's go with you first of all. How have you enjoyed this season?
Oh man, I mean, you're asking me at the right time. We're winning. This kind of how it is. Like when you're winning, everything feels great. When you're kind of losing, because we've had our ups and downs, and just like any season, it doesn't feel as good as it does like right now. But I know, like compared to last season where we were 8th, then unfortunately we've taken out Manchester 2 years in a row. Like it's kind of a different feeling at the end of the season. You just kind of like dreading the next couple of days, and you're just hoping that not hoping the season finishes, but you kind of mentally fatigued. Right now I'm good. Like I could play for a couple more months, like with the energy that we have right now, and I'm just happy. I'm happy to be playing still.
Well, you guys had a tough stint coming in to the playoffs. I don't want to embarrass him, but my man Ad said it was an uphill struggle for you guys to get in the playoffs. I think I put you down as top 5, maybe even top 4, just based at the time.
Yeah, the top
way above you.
Teams.
You're still getting the results. The only thing that worried me was the stat Dan Routledge come out with, which was in a close game you guys were 2 and 5, but I think you've turned that around now, even that over recent weeks.
Yeah, because I know our last 2 tough games, I guess, with Newcastle and this Manchester game, and we've had to kind of battle out at the end, and we've come out on top. And it's just a kind of a credit to the fact that we've been in this situation so many times. Eventually, it's gonna go away. So I know with one thing with injuries that we had at the beginning of the season, like all teams go through it. So unfortunately, like some of the teams like Sheffield have gone through it at the wrong time. And like if there is a good time, I don't really think there is a good time, but it's probably better that we kind of struggled through it at the beginning of the year. So our record doesn't really reflect like our ability as a team, because again, we've dropped a couple close ones. We've lost a couple games to some teams that we probably shouldn't have lost to. We've had a couple situations that, man, it's been storybook. So hopefully we can kind of keep pushing and then kind of erase that even more.
Well, specifically that run in, I think you played, it was a ridiculous number of games in April.
Yeah, I think we had 12 games in like 28 days or something like that.
It's a lot for BBL standards. I know, like people will say, "Oh, NBA they play every night," or college they're every.
Yeah.
But it's a bit different doing that BBL wise. But still, you guys came through it, and you, like you say, you battled through it. Was there any point where you thought, it's going to be out of reach?
I think as a player, you never really want to be kind of doubting yourself in any capacity, even if you're like the 10th team in the league. But I know we had a game against Sheffield after a couple losses, some tight, some not so tight to London. And then we're up. I think there's like 30 seconds left. If I recall, they hit 3, put us at 5. I think I drove, missed 2 free throws. They hit another 3. And then I tried to inbound the ball, like turn the ball over. Then I think they went on offense, missed. And then, no, I think they scored. So now it's 8-8. And then I think somebody else turned the ball over and they ended up winning. But the point is, like, any team could have folded. At that point, I think we were 8, maybe 9. And then again, like there's some teams, maybe they're Americans, maybe they're English players, kind of check out. You kind of ate. You just had a terrible loss. Even when you played well, you lost. And we kind of galvanized as a team. We got 4 wins in a row, and it took us from 8th to 5th. And just having those wins in a row just kind of reminded us, like, what kind of team we are and can be when we play well and when the chips kind of fall where we want them to. And then I think a couple of losses from a couple of other teams just kind of kept us in contention for like top 4. I know there was a point that we kind of looked at the table, and if we beaten Sheffield, we would have been that second team because we would have had the head.
Yeah.
But I mean, fourth is amazing because not only do you want to be top 4, you want to kind of beat out the other teams, but also for the club, like because we're a young club, like in terms of standings and history, I guess. This is the highest position we've had. So, yeah, we started up and down. Then we kind of got to a point where it wasn't the greatest, like you were saying. And then we kind of pushed through. And now kind of all of that's gone now because we're in the playoffs. We've won that first one. Now the records are kind of like obsolete. Like it looks good to kind of look back. But it's just who wins the next 3 games. So I guess that's where we are.
Absolutely. Ads, my man. Go on, fire something away.
Well, first up, Raph, I just want to congratulate you because I know you've been having these niggling injuries and stuff like that, and you've battled on, but you've had a great season, man. You really have. And like Pam says, we mention you a lot when we're talking about Bristol. Hey, what's up, Io? You good?
Io's joined us. How are you, sir?
Yeah, Io, me, Raph, Io.
How you doing?
What's going on? Good evening.
Yes, so what I was saying, Raph, and your numbers this year, you've just been so solid for him. I mean, are you injury-free at the moment? You know, are you feeling physically good, you know, going into the playoffs? And obviously, you got a job to do again. You got 2 more games to try and do a job. Are you feeling good physically?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty solid, dude. Like, usually if an injury takes me down, it's like a pretty hefty one. So let me knock on wood before I continue to talk about it. Yeah. But I think, like I said earlier, like usually injuries happen throughout the season. So we've kind of gone through so much season. We played so many games that we've had the injuries. Like everyone in the team has had something happen and we've kind of battled through it. So hopefully, like again, like let me knock on wood again. Not extremely superstitious, but I would hate for it to happen. Like we only have 3 games left, so we kind of got to put some of the niggling injuries to the back of our minds and then just kind of push on.
Yeah, because I mean, like Pap said, man, we talk about Bristol a lot. Bristol are this team that sometimes baffle us, sometimes can't get enough of because you're such a good team. But sometimes it's like, how are they at that position in the table? You know what I mean? So Bristol have always been a team that we talk a lot about, right, guys?
Oh, of course, yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I should be mad at you because it's Manchester that you keep doing it. But it's that one when you've got ties to a club, it doesn't hurt us because obviously knowing yourself and like Josh Wiltshire obviously is a buddy of the show and he's actually part of Below the Rim now. So, you know, we've always got love for Bristol. But yeah, I mean, talk us through the other night because, you know, you guys played an amazing game of basketball. I mean, everybody stepped up. You know, I thought that Mike Miller was just sensational.
You guys really missed him as well.
Yeah.
But I also felt at the same time, well, you let them have it. I think they kind of threw it away as well. You know, that's what was it, 12 points you to win by.
For sure.
Yeah, and you know, when you're looking at it from that point of view, they blew it because you let them have it, basically.
I mean, it's always tough with this aggregate. Like it's a weird one with basketball. It's not every league that kind of does it.
Thank you. Bane in contention, bro. Bane of contention. Whoa, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Do you know what the worst thing about this is, though? And I know what you mean. I don't know why they don't, on the second leg, put the difference up to start with so you know where you stand.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's part of my Bane in contention.
Yeah.
See what you started, Raph.
I feel like better.
Everyone's just having to add up and like, is that did they win by this? Did they win by 2? Like, what did they win by? I've got so many messages from people asking me, did this team or that team lose by this much or win by that much? It's like, well, I don't know. I don't know because I can't see it on the screen. You know.
I think we're in England. You know how football kind of do it. Like, we're just trying to figure out what's best. I was watching Sky Sports and I was watching the Sheffield game and I had to score up, so they did like the right thing. But then I was watching BBL play, and I got my calculator out trying to figure out like what's going on. But again, back with what we're saying, they kind of got up by 12. We didn't play the best of games, and it was away, so you know they had the home crowd with them, and you kind of. After the game, we kind of thinking, okay, it's 12 points. It was 20 at one point.
Yeah.
And the previous game, we were just down by 20 to Cheshire, and we pulled that back in a couple minutes. So we have 40 minutes to just kind of play our basketball. We don't want to be complacent about the fact that we're down. Like, we still want to have that chip on our shoulder and keep pushing, and we just kind of see what we have to do. We kind of erased the lead. So the plan was 6 by half and then by full time 12, but we kind of got down to 12 like pretty quickly. I know at the beginning, offensively, like when you're on the court, you can kind of tell what kind of shots you're getting, what kind of shots are going in. And for us, we were kind of getting a lot of the stuff we wanted, and they were kind of going through their whole possession, and then we'll have a breakdown. They'll hit a 3, and then they'll hit another 3, and they'll hit another 3. And there's only so long you can like kind of maintain that. And to be fair, they're excellent shooters on the team, and hopefully, like good for us, they ran out like before, or we kind of got them to run out, and we got the points where we needed to get it to. And just with our team, like with Mike as well, like I can't say enough about all the players on the team, but with Mike, he kind of got injured early, and I know with the BBL, usually you have an American gets injured. And he's out for a while. He's not here at the end of the season.
Yeah,
he's probably back in America.
He's gone, yeah.
And I know we got Antoine, who again another great guy. Like he was kind of the replacement for Mike in that time, and Mike was positive the whole time. There was never a point where he was like, okay, well, what is best for me? Like, it was always about what's best for the team. And then I know there was kind of, I know a bunch of BBL guys, and when he went to Sheffield and had a couple 20 balls, everyone's like, oh man, maybe you should have kept him. But I mean, we saw what Mike has done in practice, previous games before he got injured. And then the only thing now, which happened at the perfect time, was to wait for him to kind of get back to full strength or closer to full strength. And then when he was needed, but because he was out for so long, his role was kind of lessened, and then other guys were kind of picking up the slack. But we had a game Marcus was in foul trouble. He had 20 points in 17 minutes, which is like, it could have been him that had 30. And then, you game plan for our top scorer in TJ. And then I guess it's the next man up. And he had 33. Amazing guy. Go ahead.
Question. You mentioned, this is kind of a question in the statement, but you mentioned that, that you guys have been down in the previous few games, and throughout the season you've been down, 10, 15, whatever, 12 points, and you've been able to kind of claw yourself back. On one side of the coin, that could be seen as resiliency, right?
Yeah.
You guys are resilient. You guys are able to fight back, and how I'm sure that's really exhausting doing that on the mind and on the body. But another part that could be seen as, I mean, obviously you guys are competitors, so you're going to take or you should take every opponent seriously. But like, how aggravating is that internally within your team structure when game planning, when practicing, when you're looking back on footage, when you're speaking about previous games, about being down again and having to fight back? Like, how much? What's the conversations internally? That's been having about sort of not falling into that pit of complacency, and although you guys are resilient.
I think it's important to remember that we are an extremely young team. Like, not just the ages of some of the guys. Like, it's only 2 of us that have come back. So playing together, you kind of have a lack of experience that kind of gets you through some of those complacency spots or whatever. And I think like we've come like a long way from where we were at the beginning. And there's a lot of conversations and practice talk just that kind of says, okay, we can't continue to do this. Like, this is not something that is going to take us to the next level. And we want to take the positives from the wins and the resiliency, but we should be keeping our runs for when it's a tie game. So instead of going down 20 and then coming back 20, how about like they gonna run, now we're down 4 and then we go up 16 because our run was a bit bigger. But I mean, like I said, it's something that we just have to kind of get through. I think with the London team, it is, I mean, they're one of the premier teams, I guess, in the league. So it's not always I think, we're gonna take this team lightly. Usually those teams we kind of have more of a fire for. It's more like, okay, well, we know what the situation is going to be.
Talk that shit. Say you ain't pussy. That's it. Talk your shit. I ain't pussy. That we ain't pussy. Nigga, come on, talk your shit, boy. Talk your shit. Come on, talk your shit.
Because from our point of view, like, they eat and breathe like just like we do. Like, it doesn't matter what.
That's what I'm saying. Talk that
like,
shit.
So as well as you say.
Talk that shit. I'm from the ends. I'm from London. I should be offended by what you're saying.
Boy.
Yeah, exactly. I should be offended by what you're saying, but fuck it. Talk your shit.
Hey, you gotta talk to me after the game. Then it's whatever. But I don't want to be fueling nobody up. Like,
nah, got some talk your
like
shit.
I'm saying, we're amazing players too. Like, so yeah, like we got this guy and this guy, but like we've probably had, I don't know, 7 guys who have had 20 this year. This is about whose turn it is. So if we play our basketball, then there's no team that we can't beat. There's no team we haven't beaten this year.
Hey, listen, Pablo, keep this in. Mm-hmm. When we tweet the episode, make sure we gaslight the shit and say that Raphael talked his shit, saying we can beat them as well. That's it. Or I'll do it. Put it in the description. I'll put it in this.
Listen, look,
I'm gonna gaslight.
Looking at your matchup with the Lions, you guys, I'll be honest, I think they got the head-to-head, but the way your fixtures...
Yeah, they're beating us multiple times.
The way your fixtures panned out, you played on the 25th of March, Leicester. 26th, you played the Lions, lost by 3. 1st of April you played the Lions and they took it. They ran away with it a little bit, but it kind of flattered them at the end because you guys were chasing it.
What? Which game was that? Their cup game?
No, this is all league. I think this is all league fixtures. And then you played Manchester the day after on the 2nd of April, and then the 6th of April you played Lions again, and you beat them by 4. That is an incredible. And then obviously again you played on the 8th, then the 12th, then the 13th. Like there's so many fixtures.
Well,
you guys for this a bit rested, and let's not forget the last time you played the Lions, you actually got the W over them as well.
I mean, let me rein in the humbleness before I start saying all sorts. But the last game, we played them 3 times previously, so it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row.
Of course.
One of the games when they beat us by a lot, we were kind of in injury problems. One of the games we had a tobacco against Plymouth.
Oh,
and we
yeah.
had like 5 guys
Marcus
who had to
Evans
play
that,
like.
wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a whatever. So I mean, like I said, knock on wood, we're full strength. Like I know one of their guys is coming back, and they're kind of missing a couple of their guys.
For sure.
So I mean, I can't speak on that, but we're full strength, so we're gonna give our best shot. So like, we got 2 games, and we'll figure out who the better team is.
Question, guys, can someone let me know because I don't have obviously I'm late, but I don't have the numbers here or the stats here or whatever. But I'm thinking that the last time you guys played London, they were under a head coach. They were under Veer, maybe, or was it?
No, I think the last time we played them, they were under their.
Last time was quite recent.
Head coach, yeah.
They just made the switch, I think.
Oh, they just made a switch. Okay, so my question was going to be how difficult would it have been? Difficult is it to kind of game plan against a team with a new coaching system versus but obviously you play.
I think it to be honest, if you switch coach mid-season, it's probably easier because the players are like less coached up, I guess. Like we're playing our basketball, they've got to play against us. We know what we're doing. That coach might not know as much. Like our coach, we've played London so many times. Like we already know what our coach is gonna say. He knows how we're gonna react to certain situations. So I guess that's in our favor. But yeah, we played against this. I don't even know his name. That's bad, isn't it? I don't even know. But their coach that they have now.
Disrespect. I love it. Talk your shit, man. Talk your shit.
You're not gonna get me. You can't get me. Like once you play, then have me back on, and I'll say whatever needs to be said.
For my ends, I have to gas, man. Come on. I have to.
But yeah, it should be a good game, and as long as the coach is a good coach, no coach is gonna completely like destroy the team. So we'll see.
Sure. I'll be at the away game. I'll be at I'll be at London's home game.
Okay.
Just out of interest, what do you guys make of things going on in other teams, like the Lions, like letting Vince go? Obviously, the outpouring of support for Vince after they let him go was pretty good. It was pretty spectacular. Like hundreds of tweets like supporting him, and we had him on the show. He said personal phone calls and things like that. And then they replace Coach Veer as well. Is that something that you guys talk about at Flyers?
I mean, again, I gotta be like political with my answers.
Don't worry about being political.
I mean, it's not the best for like English basketball as a whole. If you're kind of chopping and changing mid-season, like I know NBA coaches get fired, but like it's for a completely different reason. Like if you want to build something sustainable, you probably want to build it around something that's going to be concrete. So you kind of have, like I said, some of the lack of experience we've experienced is just because like the nature of the BBL, a lot of like players come and go. So imagine your coaches coming and going. Like how strong can you be as like a franchise? I mean, I don't know the direction of London Lions. I mean, everybody knows they've probably got a lot of money. So like they probably have an advantage there. But in terms of what the upper management wants to do with the coach, like it doesn't match the thoughts that I have personally. But again, I'm not in that situation. Maybe if I was in that situation, I would have made the same decision. Maybe there was a conversation that nobody gets to hear about that kind of led to that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, for basketball, it's probably not the best for English basketball to be firing, especially a coach that's been so involved for so long.
Sure.
Absolutely. Do you guys get lots of kind of... Is there one big chat group with all the players? Do you guys have lots of rumours flying around? Not that we're trying to get any rumours, just, you know.
I am.
Because we hear like it's a players' league, and the players are, you know, keep in touch with each other, and it's, you know, it's that kind of league.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a couple of guys that play for the same teams, and you kind of make connections to that. But I mean, you got to remember, I've only been in this league for 3 years. I'm English, but I was away for so long that I kind of got disconnected from a couple of the guys that are like probably the heads of like the communication, I guess. I know a couple of guys in probably about half the teams. And then you usually kind of get players, Americans from like similar leagues who have played against each other or have the same agent. So they kind of know each other. But now we don't. There's no private group chat. To be fair, if you're not on the team with me, I don't like you. Like, and you probably don't like me because of how I play. So, like, unless we're really close, like, I've known you since we were younger, and even then, like, there might be a bit of animosity while we're playing. Like, I'm not really going to reach out.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, man. To be fair, though, guys, just want to mention, while we're talking about Vince, as you know, it was Junior Final Fours here over the weekend in Manchester. Amazing weekend. Amazing. I'm still coming down from it, from doing the commentary. But me and my buddy Stan from Big Dog Balling were doing the commentary. We did 4 games, and we sat watching. I forget which game it was, and all of a sudden Vince walked past us, and we were like, "Hey, Vince," because you know he just likes being around it, and you know he was very much in his casual shorts and t-shirt, which is different from Vince.
But, no flashy suits.
Yeah, man. But he gets about. He loves it.
You played abroad. How would the sort of the competition, or maybe the I guess the competition, sort of match up with what you've experienced in the last 3 years in the BBL up until sort of this very season? How would you compare? What would you compare? What league would you put it up against that you've played it in?
I think the leagues before I came to play in the BBL, like I kind of had like a perception of where I thought it was. Even watching it, like you still don't really know like how good some of the players are. But playing in it, it's much better than I thought. Like there's a lot of players from like high major colleges that come and play. Like there's a lot of guys that have come from like G leagues. And even with this London Lions teams we just talked about, some guys that have been all the way to the NBA. I think talent-wise, there's probably players who are starting their career, or maybe they're on the decline from their career, that at the peak of their heights could probably play in some of the better leagues like in the world. I don't really know how high they can be, but I think it's improving. In terms of the structure of like English basketball, like I think there's still some things that need to be changed just to kind of get it to that level, even if they bring the best players over, like and until they fix some of these like underlying issues, like it's never going to be sustainable, like again competing against some of the better leagues. So I couldn't even compare it at this point.
Fair enough.
Where'd you play your college ball, Raph?
I played 2 years Division II at Gannon University, and I played 2 years Division I at University of Buffalo.
Oh, New York.
And then I took like 4 years off to be a normal human.
Buffalo's no joke, man. That's a big basketball school. I mean, in fact, now you've mentioned it, I remember because guys, I don't. You remember David Kadiri?
Yeah,
played for Giants.
Yeah, he's a good player.
4 years ago. Yeah, he went. That's where he went, and I think I asked you, Raph, if you ever crossed paths with him, but the timing was a little bit different.
Yeah.
I mean, Buffalo's a hell of a school for hoops.
Yeah, I actually got my connection through Kevin Cato.
No way!
Legend.
Yeah. So
legend.
Like, he actually came to a practice because of Carl Brown, like, and I just happened to be in the practice. And then after he was like, "Oh, can you do a workout with me?" And I did a workout with him. I'm a pretty big player. Like, I'm moderately skilled at the time. And then he kind of made the connection, and that's how I ended up going. I had a couple of offers because I played for the England team, but nothing as secure as that. So, I mean, I appreciate everything he's done.
Wicked. That's incredible.
Yeah, because Antoine from Johnson.
Anton Johnson.
Is Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah, from the Sharks, he played there. I know there was a guy who played for the Royals. He went to Buffalo.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I think even Isaiah Reese played for a team that was like kind of similar level. I think Canisius is in Buffalo. It's in Buffalo. We used to scrimmage them all the time. So yeah, it was a pretty decent level.
You must love Griselda then.
Who?
Griselda, or Benny the Butch and them. You're not a fan?
No, I don't know.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Well,
I don't keep up to. Nah. My story goes a bit deeper.
Okay.
So, no,
okay.
I don't.
I'll send you links of their music.
I gotta do my research.
They're fine. They're from Buffalo. They're from Buffalo themselves. So
okay.
I think if you like your bars, deep heavy production, nothing silly, nothing like tight jeans and flashy shit. Then you'll really enjoy their shit because they're from Buffalo. So they're all from Buffalo. So yeah, Griselda.
Great stuff. Listen, how much of, and this isn't not us specifically, but how much of the kind of BBR media gets through to you guys and spurs you on? Because obviously everybody makes predictions, everybody has their favourites, everybody thinks they know or at least can have a good stab at who's going to make the playoffs, who's not. How much of it gets to you guys and how much of it spurs you on?
I mean, everyone's political answer is, you don't really pay attention to it, but you see it, especially the fact that we're in England. Like, it's pretty small country. The basketball community is pretty close knit. I think it's more of like how the team is viewed. Like, regardless of if we hear someone, Bristol are doing so well, we don't hear that. That's no one cares about that. It's usually when they're like, Bristol can't finish late games or this or that, or like they're there and whatever. So we get in the locker room, that's the first thing someone's gonna say. He's gonna be put in a group chat just to kind of get us fired up. So like, if you kind of want Manchester to do better next year, like kind of keep taking a couple of digs at them, and then hopefully they'll get the message to kind of be better. But I mean, I feel like even if you kind of have like a bad comment from somebody, it's all part of the sport. Like, you want people to be commenting on it, because the more comments and the more media attention, the more fans there are. Like, the more the salaries go up. Like, so it's all in good fun. But if you talk about Bristol, like, remember what I said. If you don't want us to do well, don't be slandering it.
How does Andreas deal with it? I guess he doesn't really care either. But he has a kind of a Marmite effect on people. People either love Coach Andreas or they don't like him at all, and it's like it's nothing in between with that guy. He's all or nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he's a super passionate guy. I actually hate Marmite, but I love Coach Andreas. I mean, I've been here for a couple of years now, and he hasn't managed to get rid of me yet. I think it's just this is passion. Like, with anybody, if you kind of put your emotions on your sleeve, you're probably going to say something that's going to rub somebody the wrong way. So like, it's just inevitable. It's just, if you understand where those comments and where those emotions are coming from, you love him, like you were saying. So yeah, he's an acquired taste, but again, it just comes from heart of gold, I guess.
And like you say, he's kept you around in this squad, and obviously it's presumptuous, but you got any plans to go anywhere else? You coming back? Yeah.
Again, like, we gotta focus on what's going on right now. Like,
Good answer.
I don't believe I'll go anywhere else.
Good answer. I like that.
It's nice in Bristol. Bristol's not a bad place.
Yeah, I love Bristol. I love Bristol as a city, as a whole organization. Like, I've always heard of horror stories about teams out there. This is wrong, or this is wrong, and this is terrible. I've had an amazing time here. So like, I'm happy. I'm a happy person.
They got good ownership. How's the development of the new arena coming along? Do you guys get to see that?
Yeah. 100. They tell us about most of the stuff all the time. The actual status of it is a bit above my pay grade, but I know it would be a huge improvement to like the Bristol organization. I know with this, every game someone's messaging me, "Hey, you got a ticket?" because it's so packed. Like so small, and like it always gets packed out, and it sell out so quick that like it's kind of.
I guess it's because of space, but it always does my head in because you know that there's a really good crowd behind the camera.
Yeah.
Because all you can see is the blue wall, but you can tell by the fact that there's loads of people sat around the edge that it's a packed house.
Yeah. I think
I googled some pictures to see what it looks like on the other side.
It's always full. Like I said, it's not. I think it's the smallest in the BBL, if I'm not mistaken. But like, yeah, it's always full. I know that if we were to increase, let's say we could just knock that blue wall down and like add another side, like in the next day, I feel like we'd sell out for this game that's coming out. Yeah, like in the next couple of days. So I mean, it's encouraging because you never play in an empty hall or whatever. I know with this COVID year, it really kind of showed us how much we needed the fans, and even with this last game, like they were behind us. It's the loudest I've ever heard it, and. I mean, like I said, the arena will be an amazing improvement to Bristol.
Well, if you're happy to stick around, excuse me, Raph, we'll just crack on through everything else that's been going in, like playoff wise, and maybe get your input on it as well.
Talk about my tweet.
Yeah, sure.
Which one?
Yeah, which.
You know, the one about Sheffield being embarrassed about.
Well, let's talk Sheffield now, shall we?
Second seed.
So
yeah.
Sheffield Sharks, the 2 seed, obviously, and clear 2 seed. Let's be fair, they've been fighting for that second spot for a while now, taking on the Glasgow Rocks, who to a certain degree, the Rocks were dead and buried at one point. They had 5 games in hand, but they were like, God, I can't remember. I think it was 8 points off the chase, and everyone was writing them off, myself included. I didn't think they had enough about them. They got hammered in the trophy. I think it was the trophy's second leg after being in a decent position, and there were question marks. Yet they pulled through and got in the playoffs and faced the Sharks. First leg, Sharks took control of it. Obviously, we haven't had a show since then because these games have come fairly thick and fast. Bottom line is the Rocks controlled that second fixture, and Sharks were down a man or two. But the fallout of that has been quite entertaining. Obviously, a 2 seed going out to 7 seed it's not that much of a common occurrence. And my man Io brought that up on Twitter, didn't you, sir?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the tweet. I'm trying to find my tweet after.
I think you basically were saying. You were basically saying, how has this gone under the radar to a degree? How's this not been talked about? It's.
Here we go. Yeah. So let me just read the tweet. So I said, and I quote because I'm quoting myself. I'm not narcissistic. I'm really not. Sheffield getting knocked out by a lowly 7th seeded team. It is an embarrassment that seems to have gone unnoticed for some reason. And the fans / peons / whoever, they all chimed in, and I don't know. I stand by what I say. I think if we're looking at competition, just loaded competition, just this competition, looking at Warriors, looking at people that are, that have spent the regular season fighting and positioning themselves to get into the right seeded place in order to play the right opponent in the business end of the season, then we're looking at that second seeded team, should be in position to be beaten, but should be in position to see themselves through to the next round out of the first round of the playoffs. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a couple of caveats here. One, the Rocks hold the series over the regular season series over them, and two, Sheffield had, I guess, 2 key players out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. Again, fine. I won't argue that. But at the end of the day, a bunch of teams have got key players out. A bunch of teams are dealing with injuries, and at the same time, it just feels to me like a wasted season. They finally got themselves into second place. They've been somewhat of a, I don't know, an up and down team over the years. They go through spurts of being great, then they go through spurts of being just really poor. Taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps backwards at times during seasons, and they finally got themselves into second place. And for me, it was like, okay, well, this is the time. This is the time they put their foot on everyone's necks and show out. Yes, fair enough. The Rocks are coming in hot because they're on their run of their current run of form, or their current run of form was pretty good at the time. Yes, Sheffield are dealing with injuries, but at the end of the day, every team is dealing with injuries, or most teams are dealing with injuries at this point of the season. Fair enough, there are only 10 teams in the league, but that in itself is not much of an argument to me, because at the end of the day, we're talking about playoffs here. We're talking about fighting. You're going through. What's the point of winning all those regular season games just to go out in the first round of the playoffs? And it just seems like a wasted season for me. Sheffield were supposed to really, at the very least, get to the Final Four.
Yeah, that's good.
And a lot of people will say in that thread was saying, "Well, have respect for Rocks and whatever." 2 things are here. 2 things. One, I don't have to have respect for Rocks. I don't have to because I'm not paid to have respect for them. I literally not paid.
Well, they're tied 7th. Let's not,
right? Exactly. But also,
technically,
2 is like, all right, fair enough. They've done well, but they're still 7th. Like, we're talking about competition here. The second seed team in the playoffs, in the championship playoffs, really and truly should beat the 7th seed. That's how we should be looking at it. Like that's what should happen. Don't get me wrong, there are outliers in places and in different leagues and whatever, and sometimes in different seasons within the BBL. I know the top seeded team at one stage, London Lions, got knocked out by Plymouth.
Hey,
the 8th seeded team a few years back.
Dante Nicholas.
That was that was a bit of a shit show, clown show to me. It was, but again,
that was glossed over. Yeah,
it went under the radar. It's like, what the hell? But again, it's
go on, Ads.
I stand by what I stand. I stand by what I said, and I'm not afraid of it.
Ads, one man. What do you make of it?
Well, I mean, what I've got to say about it is good for you, Glasgow. You know what I mean? It's that we're big Gareth Murray fans, and fair play to him. You know what I mean? It's like we said. I think we all wrote him off a little bit, but this year's been a big for him, and it's like we've always said. I think Gareth just needs time just to get used to it, and he needs to obviously make a decision at some point whether he's Gareth Murray, the great basketball player, or he's going to be Gareth Murray, a great coach, which he's going to be. So, I'm happy for him. I mean, if you're talking about rivalries, I mean, obviously nothing but love for Mike Tuck, but, Sheffield are my nemesis. It's a standing joke on this show because obviously Giants fans for some reason have this big rivalry with Cheshire Phoenix, and it's basically because they're sort of up the road. But for me, being old school, what Sheffield did to us in the 90s, that's why Sheffield are my team. So when they come out, I always think, well, it serves you right for what happened 25 years ago. But good for Glasgow, man. I'm happy for it.
Raph, do you guys from other team, looking at it from Flyers' perspective or from your perspective, do you guys look at that, a 2 seed going out to the 7th seed and think, wow, that's an upset?
I mean, yeah, seeding-wise, it's an upset, but because of the way the league is currently, like Leicester winning so many games and Surrey kind of dropping so many games, the difference between the teams is like minuscule. Like, you got to think about who was injured at the beginning of the season and then what those implications were at this point in the season. And then they've lost, I think I'm looking here, almost almost 30 points from injuries. So it's got to be hard. And at the position that they've lost it at, it kind of completely changes the complexion of the team. So, yeah, 100% Sheffield, congratulations for getting second. But when you kind of lose the players that you lose, like, it's more of an accomplishment to them to go away to Glasgow and then have that lead in the first place. Yeah, I watched the game. It wasn't the greatest of performances from Sheffield, but I don't think it takes away from what they did for like previous in the season. And then that's kind of a discredit to Glasgow because, yeah, they're 7th. But again, maybe they lost some of those games that could have changed the complexion of their season. They could have been the 3rd team or the 4th team by just a couple of wins here and there. So, yeah, the seeding at this point
listen,
isn't really the best, like, accurate, like, measurement. That's my point of view. And that's as someone that doesn't play for Sheffield.
He's rocking the boat, Iron. He's rocking the boat.
And to be fair, that game definitely gave us a better seeding for this round. So I'm not upset that they lost. Like, I think we have to beat the teams we got to beat in the playoffs anyway. But I would prefer to kind of play a London at this stage, a team that we played a lot of times, and then play the Leicester or whatever in the final. So I'm not upset that they lost. But again, it's a kind of a discredit to Glasgow to kind of have them labeled as a 7th seed.
But they are. They're the
you're right. But
bro,
Sheffield
like, what
lost.
are we talking about, bro?
It's not a full strength Sheffield
It's
team.
like someone walking in my room and saying to me, discrediting me because I'm wearing a jeans shirt. Oh, you're the jeans shirt guy. Yeah, you're damn right. I'm wearing a jeans shirt. Oh, you're the guy with locks. Yep, I got locks. I got beautiful locks. I paid a lot of money to get them retwisted this weekend.
Yeah, but
You know what I
nobody
mean?
knows the reason behind why you're wearing that jean jacket. It would be a discredit to kind of just say that at face value.
I have to own it. I'm have to own it, bro. I paid some good money for my hair. I paid some good money for this shirt, bro. I look good. Like I'm gonna have to own it. No?
Listen,
Because Glasgow got pretty far in all competition.
Glasgow finished the season strong. Had to make the playoffs. And I think Sheffield had to. They were chasing that second spot. They didn't finish. They still finished strong. Missing the guys, missing the obviously Antoine Johnson's a huge part of their scoring. Like you said, he's 20 points a game. Rodney Glasgow Jr. is. I mean, when you look at the team and how it's set out, and if you look at each team and say, well, there's an MVP candidate from each team, Rodney Glasgow Jr. has got to be up there for them because he's run the show. Offensively, he does a lot of stuff that doesn't show up in the stat column, but he still goes off. He still has like big games. They are big losses, but when I look at that roster, Kipper Nichols, Ratinho, Bennett Cook, Wallace, since he's come in, Devante Wallace has been fantastic. His outside shooting is amazing. Mike Tuck on the bench, Del Pesh on the bench. I'm still kind of thinking, and it wasn't a huge advantage that they brought back from Glasgow, but being the home team in that second leg, I was hoping for more, I think, essentially. And the Rocks, I love that Rocks team. I love that Rocks starting 5 particularly, and Jack Donmy coming off the bench when he's dialed in. That guy is tough. But I wanted more from that Sharks team. Like you say, like I said, they finished the season so well, highest they finished for a long time. You want to bring that into the playoffs.
Yes.
And they just couldn't get it done.
Like, because to be honest with you, that's the matchup. Listen, if we're talking about the matchups, right? Again, I don't have to respect any team because I'm not paid to, but I'm looking for the best matchup in regards to the seeding. Because if it's the top 4, then I'm looking at I want the top 4 to be in the final 4, right? And yeah, there are going to be outliers. I get it. And yes, there are going to be teams that are going to come in a lot more hot than the other teams. It's namely teams that have had to battle to get into the playoffs. They've had to, doesn't matter whether it's because even Bristol at one stage were battling. You guys were battling to kind of stay into the playoffs. Like Bristol, Rocks. Like I respect that, but at the end of the day, when it comes to it, I want to see the best against the best versus the best. And according to the seeding, Sheffield was one of those teams or those better teams that I wanted to see in the Final Four. And that team, regardless whether they were down, whatever player, whatever, I would have liked to have seen go up against what? I mean, it would have been. Oh, it would have been you guys, right? It would have been the way the BBL works. It would have been at Bristol, right?
Yeah. So if the top 4 won, we would have played Leicester and Sheffield.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So but then
better for you. Better for you. Right?
Yeah, but I want to see the best against the best. But it is what it is. I think even with that being said, someone actually wrote in the tweeted in the thread, are you basically to paraphrase, are you going to be the same? Are you going to keep the same energy with Leicester if the Rocks knock them out? I said I'm going to be worse.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm going to be worse. I'm going to be a lot worse because
that's more of an upset, isn't it? A 25 win team against a 12 win team. There is an expectation there.
At this point, the Rocks are the giant killers, which is great. I like that. Respect to them. I like that. If they knock out Leicester, I'm going to be worse with Leicester. I'm going to be, right. But at the same time, it's great for Glasgow. But at the same time, I want the best of the best to play to get to the Final Four, to get to the final. I want the best matchups as possible. And I mean that's my point. But I digress.
Well, with that point, like just I know the seeding is the seeding, and again, the season's seeding has kind of been all over the place. You couldn't guess who was going to finish where. Because if we lost a couple games, so theoretically, right now we're the top 4 teams. But if we lost a couple games previously, and then Manchester won that last game, we would have lost on head-to-head, and then we would have probably dropped down to 6 or 7, and we would have been the team playing at Sheffield, who we almost swept. So then we would have won, and it would have looked like an upset.
Yeah.
But essentially,
at the same time,
who the team is.
But then at the same time, regardless, you would have deserved to be in that position because you didn't win the games that you needed to win throughout the season to be higher.
Okay, fair.
No, fair. Like again, listen, I'm not getting at you, my brother, but like the point I'm trying to make is like win your games. Like obviously not to you, but I'm talking to everyone. Win what you have to win. Again, it's the same thing as London, bro. They slipped up against a team they should have beaten. There were teams they should have dog walked this season, but because there was so much flux and so much change and so much, so they had to deal with. Again, I might sound like I'm contradicting myself or a bit of a hypocrite because I'm not. Because they're in so much flux this season, be it from the head coach's role, or be it from a roster situation. Be it from a roster situation. There wasn't much stability there, so they were up and down. But they should have dog walked a lot of teams in this league, but they didn't. There were teams like I'm never expecting just because of Coach Andreas, because he's a very defensive head coach. I'm never expecting anyone to dog walk Bristol, right? Because it's just because of how you guys are. I'm not just saying that because RAPHELL's here.
Always a tough team. Yeah.
Is that no?
Always a physical team.
I respect the business side of Bristol Flyers, although I've never been a huge fan of what's gone on the court. On court, I respect the business side and off court stuff, and even the content and the vision that you guys are creating and the projection and the pathway you guys are following are going down. I love it. I love to see that. But I never ever expect to see Bristol Flyers getting dog walked by any team. So when I say they should have dog walked a lot of teams in this league, and they didn't understand this. Bristol are one of those teams. I know they would have. I wasn't looking for them to get dog walk. I understand that. I'm being sincere. But again, the point I'm trying to make is, they were in flux. They lost a lot. They lost the games that they should have won. It's going to be a very interesting Final Four series against London Lions that you guys are up against. Are there any players in particular that you can't give away your game plan, but is there any players in particular that you believe you yourself, just say yourself, that you have to sort of keep an eye out for, or be aware of, or focus on, like even maybe just at your position or how you're scheming?
Who's on your mind? Who's on your mind, Raph?
We kind of took Isaiah Reese, point guard. I don't know if he's leading the league in scoring, but it's sometimes tough to stop as a player. I know Kelly, I think he's leading. Is it leading London or is it BBL in general? And
blocks.
Yeah,
he's leading the league. Yeah.
I don't know where he is in history-wise, but sometimes
he's up there. I think he's in the top 10. I think, yeah.
In history,
I think so. I'll look it up.
Yeah, I've kind of got to the hoop, think, this is a layup, but then he's just come out of nowhere and kind of blocked it. I know. I'm not just going to go down the roster. Like, they've got a good team.
Who's your assignment usually against London?
Dirk Williams.
He's a handful, surely.
Yeah, but he's Dirk, like another guy, Kajini. In terms of Dirk, he's coming back from injury, and the last playoff series, it wasn't the greatest for him. So I know he's probably in the gym right now, trying to figure out like how he can get it back for our matchup. So if I was to pick out one player, it probably would be him. Like I know if I kind of do my job, kind of make it tough for him all night, like it would be easier job for us as a team. So if I was to pick out one player, it probably would be him. I think he's at one point, I don't know if he is anymore, he was shooting some crazy efficient percentage.
Yeah.
Like,
he always has, really.
Yeah. But that's what you kind of love about playoff matchups. You get to see guys like yourself, you're a great defender, going up against somebody with that kind of offensive firepower. And I'm sure you're going to drive him insane. He's going to drive you insane. For the viewers, perfect matchup for me. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I really am. And I think, like you said, Raph, I think if you guys go out there and play like you played against Manchester the other night, every chance, man. Every chance.
Kind of just out of interest, Kyler Kelly is 5th all-time for blocks per game for a single season, which is incredible.
Perhaps we need to talk about the elephant in the room here.
Yeah, well, I was going to say let's talk about the remaining fixture we haven't yet spoken about, the Leicester Riders.
Oh, right, yeah.
And the Plymouth City Patriots in what was a feisty affair. It's exciting. It was Patriots came out of blocks extremely well. Looked like they were going to kind of try and lead from the front and keep a lead, which is going to be tough against the league champs who have only lost 2 league games or 3 games in all competitions all season long. I think it's been maybe one in the cup earlier to London, make it maybe 4 games or something. But that's it's a tough thing to do. It was a very partisan crowd, should we say? It always is at Plymouth, and to be honest, it always is in any venue when you're the home team and you want your team to win. But that atmosphere in pavilions was immense, and it got feisty. It got quite chippy. People
Ultra.
Fighting over the ball, and rightly so. It's a playoff game. That's what you want to see. And then there was an incident. I've got a.
Did you see it happen at the time,
No.
Pabs? Because you
it
commentate
happen
from
at
way
the
up
time.
in the gods, don't you?
I was following the play, and the play wasn't there. The replay, they have the 2 cameras, and one of them's like the close-up replay camera. That wasn't on what was happening. That was on the ball, so didn't see it at the time. It's a little bit of backlash I got today because I write the articles for Plymouth City Patriots that go in the local paper and go on Plymouth Live, which is the local paper's website, and I share those on social media for people to read if they enjoy that kind of thing, and I enjoy writing them. It's good stuff, but I left it out. I didn't put anything in it about it, and I had a few people come back to me and say, well, that's not necessarily good journalism or whatever because I've left it out. And I left it out for a specific reason, or several reasons actually. One is I don't condone kind of any of the actions around it whatsoever. The action itself and everything that kind of followed it, I don't condone. You obviously can't condone it. It's a ridiculous thing to have a random fan drop a water or cup of liquid on the away team's head coach. It's just bullshit. You can't do it. It's stupid. But I don't necessarily like the fallout from it as well, and the way it's kind of been reported on. The way it was reported on, although not reported on, the way it was kind of taken at the time as well, because we didn't know what happened without the replay. Honestly, thought a bottle had been lobbed from up in the stands and had connected. It was that kind of reaction to it. Didn't like the way it was kind of reported on afterwards, and definitely don't like the way that rumours have circulated that it is related to, it is a player's relative that has done it, which is not true. It's utter bullshit. And it's an ongoing investigation. They've got the guy who's done it. He's not a Plymouth person. He's not a Plymouth Patriots supporter. We'll see if anything obviously comes of it. But I don't know what... it's not a good look. Not just for the Patriots. It's not a good look for the league. It's something that kind of almost needs to be addressed, which has been. The league hasn't made an official statement on it. And then it needs to be put to bed. And we don't need to have anything like this come up again. And I chose not to write about it because it didn't... the game was what was important, and how the game went, and the fact that the Patriots in that second leg had a chance to actually take it from the champs, chipped away at that 15-point lead, went up by a point. But that's my kind of take on it. That's where I'm leaving it, because the other thing is, of course, now if you start talking about it too much, it becomes more of a thing, and I don't know, people might not like where it kind of goes. But Ads, my man. You got anything on it, or should we talk about the game?
Man, perhaps you pretty much summed it up to a T there. I didn't actually watch the game, but obviously my phone was going berserk. And I must admit, when I watched the clip, I was expecting to see something a lot worse than I actually saw. It was just the fact that it made it into the Daily Mirror.
Which is,
it's kind of like... so, basketball in Britain gets into the Daily Mirror because someone's poured a cup on the coach's head, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's bullshit, you know what I mean? Like you said, it's the game that's important. The bit I didn't like was some of the BS that was going around about it being something to do with LVC. It's just dumb.
I am a man.
Who would have thought Plymouth have ultras now? So I'm joking.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
It's you can't, Pab, you can't win, and you have to get to a point now, especially as this podcast is growing, as our voices are growing, as notoriety is coming our way a lot more around the league. We have to get to a point of we're never going to make everyone happy, right? And you're not going to make everyone happy. So what you did was you decided to concentrate on the game, right? And not highlight said incident. Now, some people are happy with that because you put emphasis on basketball. Other people aren't happy because they want to voice their complaint and their whatever on something that, is I'm not condoning it, something that's disgusting, something we've seen across mainland Europe for decades, but at the end of the day, people are going to complain for whatever reason. You just have to, we just have to accept that fact that we're never going to make people happy or have people accept the reasons why you did it. And it's not that you haven't come to terms with it. I'm just talking in general, like speaking in general. It's just that it is what it is. Like I think you did the right thing. Us guys, we've got your back, but I think you did the right thing by keeping it out, by keeping it focused on basketball. Because at the end of the day, I think it could have been worse. It could have been a worse situation, but at the end of the day, I think the worst thing out of it again is the rumors, and LVC is now looked, or had been at that time, or in and around that time, looked upon in a particular light because it may have been someone related to him, which was an absolute fabrication, an absolute lie.
Yeah.
So I feel for him, but at the end of the day, they want, whoever they might be, want something to complain about and want something to voice and tweet about and whatever. Like it is what it is. Like let them have that, bro. Like it is what it is. Like they're gonna boohoo and moan. Who gives a fuck? Fuck them.
Raphael, Mr. Thomas-Edwards, so have you got anything you want to say on it? I mean, it must have been a bit of a shocking kind of thing to happen, especially from a player's perspective. You don't necessarily expect that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not a regular occurrence. There's a couple of fans that would be kind of gunning for me. But I know, and in terms of basketball as a sport, it's entertainment. You want to kind of have a narrative behind it, but when there's a narrative kind of being put out, and then that's kind of the one that makes the most noise, like in England, it's not good for basketball in England. Like, that's not how you want people who kind of don't know as much as kind of you guys know, or like a long-standing fan is going to know about the BBL. He's just going to know that there was some fan that decided to kind of throw whatever. And I think, it happens probably in football and kind of all over Europe. But on the flip side of that, a passionate fan that is probably going to buy a season ticket or buy a bunch of merchandise. And I guarantee whoever this guy is or whoever the person is isn't showing that side of passion as well. So I don't think it's something that can be reported on personally. I feel like it was. I definitely, as a person, the curious person, I still want to know like what exactly happened. But I don't think it should be something that should be pushed out to everybody. And again, because I don't want that to be the narrative behind the BBL, especially at this time of the year. Like you were saying, Plymouth almost took it from the champs, and they've had a season of ups and downs just like everybody else. So why isn't that the biggest story as opposed to somebody that is kind of meaningless to the results?
No, absolutely. I mean, looking at the result, shifting seamlessly away from it, it's no real shock that the Riders came through it, and Coach Paul James was quite realistic in his I think it was his post-game interview after the Eagles game, saying like the game against the Eagles was their cup final. That getting into the playoffs from the position they were in December, making the playoffs in that way against essentially, the BBL's winningest franchise, the Eagles, and a team that's been in the playoffs every year for 2 decades, taking that game and taking care of business there was kind of their final. That said, they gave it a good run. But I will say this, and I don't know what you guys have an opinion on this, whether you've seen them at this stage. That Riders team has a very different feel to it now that it's playoff time. They came down to Pavilions, obviously, previously in the year, and they've had a few Sky games, so we've watched plenty of footage of Gino and the guys getting stuff done. But I honestly feel like they are showing a bit of a nasty streak right now. They want this playoffs. I said on the broadcast as well, I think there's a bit of unfinished business with particularly with Gino not winning the playoffs last season and getting knocked out by the Eagles. I think they've got unfinished business, and I think they really want it, and they were very vocal. I think Gino might get into trouble for flipping off the crowd a couple of times as well when things got a bit feisty.
I love it.
We'll see how that goes.
Get on his Kyrie. I like it.
But they want it.
He wants it.
Yeah, go on.
Gino wants it bad. I mean, we had him on the show, and obviously we caught up with him at Leicester Pabs. Yeah. And, with the thing I like about Gino is that he kind of says the same to you in person that he was saying on the podcast, you know what I mean? And he wants it. He wants to all 3 chips this year, you know what I mean? And it's part of his legacy, He knows that he's one of the most talented players that we've ever had in this league. And he's already sort of, when we talk about, all-time BBL, I mean, this guy is special.
And he needs one more season for me. He needs one more season of this.
Definitely, but he wants to prove the point from last year, like you said.
Yeah.
Pabs, but he also, he knows that he's the MVP, and he, as the MVP, wants all three. And that is at the forefront of his mind. But likewise, the whole team does. I mean, any team that Rob coaches, you're in trouble. I mean, Rob's a great guy, great coach, and I think that's it. I just think they've got a chip on the block, but in a kind of good way. And, to see them do what they potentially could do, it's everything to those guys.
I am my man.
Listen, I won't lie. I would like to see them get knocked out, but I want to see them getting beat. I want to see them get beat in the finals, and that's what I want. That's what I want. To knock them down a couple of pegs. I really want to see them get beat in the final. So whoever gets to the final, you guys you have to do your job. Raphael, if you get to the final, bro, you got to do me that solid. You know what I mean? You got to do me that solid. Knock him out. But I think seriously though, it's what the playoffs are. The playoffs aren't for it's the business end of the season. It's not for the faint at heart. It's the tough part, the wickedest part of the season. It's the business end of the season. And these are series, regardless of whether it's an aggregate series or a best of whatever series. These are series, so they're gonna be tougher games. They're gonna be refereed differently, and especially if they've got a chip on their shoulder. As a result of last season, then I respect that. I respect if they have to be nasty, then cool, be that, but at the same time, own it. Like, don't run away from it. Own it, and keep that same energy. Especially keep that same energy with the Rocks.
You'll need to, I think. Yeah.
That same energy with the Rocks. And if they get to the final, keep that same energy with either Bristol or London. Right? Again, it will aggravate the hater that I am to see them keep that same energy because I am a hater, but I will respect it if they keep that same energy. And if they keep the same energy, like what can a hater like me say? I can't really say much. I can't. I'm gonna hate. I'm gonna say something about Gino's, the hairline, but it is what it is. I can't. I'm not gonna. I have to hold my hands up and respect it. I have to hold my hands up and respect it. But sincerely, I have to hold my hands up and respect it.
Last bit.
Yeah, with the
yeah, go on.
The Leicester point, you knocked him out the trophy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you guys must be buzzing right now.
Yeah, we've taken one of his chips away, and me personally, I hate Leicester. Like, I'm from Leicester.
Are you?
And yeah, the team in general. I mean, it's not like a personal hate. It's more of like a I have to.
Damn those guys! Leicester. Yeah.
I don't play for them, so I can't love them. So I've got to hate them. Like, it is what it is. I know before I came to Bristol, I don't think they'd beaten Leicester before in like the couple of years that they've been, but I think I've got them like 4 times in the years I've been here. I think a little bit more than that. So I want to see them do well because I want to see them in the finals. So hopefully we can get this London Lions series handled, and then we can see them in the finals and then see how it is. Because I think one game.
Talk that shit again. Talk that shit.
You matched up with them well.
One game they beat us by a lot.
Yeah, that was when you had injuries.
The games it's been 3 or we were up and they hit a tough shot. Yeah. So like we're right there. Like I know I was talking all this mess about seeding or whatnot, but we're right there with them every time we play them. So like I'm ready to kind of get another crack at them.
Definitely push them on. My last kind of question on the Riders and maybe why. Because there's good rumours coming out of there that they want to go into Europe next season. They're going to have a go at the BCL. That was reported online. One of the news, I guess it was from one of the Leicester newspaper online articles.
I think it was Daily Mail as well.
Was it in that as well? So there's definitely, you know, they're going in the right direction. I know they wanted to previously, but COVID kind of the financial impact of COVID meant that they weren't able to do it. And I know it's something if Gino's going to stick around, they're going to have to go into Europe, and rightly so, because that guy wants to be playing in European competition. But do you think there's an element of them wanting to get the chip this season because of the way the league might be going with restructuring with 777? It might be more of a level playing field next season. We don't know. It might be tough for them to come through as dominantly as they have this season. Do you think that spurs them on a bit?
Why'd you say it might be tough for them next season?
It might be more of a level playing field next season. The financial impact of 777 coming in. We don't know how it's gonna be. They're gonna want the standard of the league to be high, so they may well invest money in each club. We don't know
for
that.
sure. To that point, I hear what you're saying. But there's still going to be teams that can't compete,
sure,
because they're unable to. They don't have the head coach or the scouts or the staff in order to recruit the right players, or they might not recruit the right players. They might not be able to recruit the right group of players that create the chemistry that they need, that they require to win. So there's going to be teams that are going to be bottom of the league, middle, whatever. Now, I say all that to say that I don't think that they're in some particular, to answer your question, I don't believe that they're in this particular rush or need to win this season because next season is going to be all different. I really don't. I think one thing I do respect about Leicester is that they keep that same energy again, like I said, I'm a hater. I am a hater.
But it's because they're good, that's why.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, right, of course. I'm a hater. I am a hater, but you have to respect them because they keep that championship energy every season. It's the same thing. Listen, you guys know I basketball's the only sport I watch. I watch ACB, Pro R. I watch Australian NBL. I obviously the NBA. I watch a little bit of the Italian LBA. I watch the German Easy Credit BBL, and you have those teams who have the championship. It's either a championship or it's a bad season. If there's no championship at the end of the season, it's a bad season. You have Bayern Munich, the Real Madrid, the Barcelonas. You have the Bolognas. You have the AX Milans. You have those teams throughout Europe. Advel, Villeban. You have those teams throughout Europe that is championship or not. And Leicester is the same thing, championship or not, every season out. And I don't think that whatever happens next season I don't think is even on their mind this season. I don't think it's even on Rob's mind personally. I don't think it's on the front office's minds in regards to winning on court this season. I think they just out to win it this season, just like they were out to get blood last season, and obviously they fell short, and the season before and the season before that, and however many seasons. I just again, like I said, I'm a hater, but I respect that about them because they keep that same energy season in, season out, and they are a championship pedigree team, and they've got those players, Gino, all of them. They're a championship pedigree team, and they're after blood this season, and I respect that.
Raphael, do you guys feel like there'd be much change to the league next season with this new investment? Are you guys expecting anything different?
I mean, as a player, you want more money. Who doesn't want more money? Sure. Forget basketball. Just in general, you want to have more money to be paid to do what you do, but I think as someone from England who's kind of seen it from a young age, like you can't just throw money at a league and think that it's gonna be all great, because
we've kind of seen that with the Lions, haven't we? Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Lions, Royals, the last Plymouth team, like they're no longer a thing. Like, I think there's so many like intricacies in terms of English basketball, like even outside of BBL, like basketball England, that need to be changed before there's going to be any real success
I agree.
and like consistency in the league. I think if it brings back to Leicester, one of the reasons why they're always at the top is just because they have such a an experienced infrastructure. So it's not just about the money they have. Obviously, you have more money, you can bring in better players. But when you can like have consistent like physios or gym space, or just the housing situation is better, or like fans and merchandise, like there's so many things that money just can't change. Like you need to bring in somebody with like the right kind of knowledge and passion. And I'm not saying that maybe 777 like they have all that. Maybe they are making changes and this, that, and the third. But until you actually know and see a difference, I don't think it's really going to make a difference, like with their money. And I don't think, to Ayo's point, I don't think Leicester are thinking about that like either. Like in terms of they need to win this year because of next year is going to be different. Because to them, next year is not going to be different. Like these teams who have these head coaches and have these infrastructures, like I was saying, are still going to be where they are. So like, as long as they continue to do what they're doing, they're going to be one of the top 4 teams. And that's one of the reasons I feel like I've stayed with Bristol for so long, because even though budget-wise, we're probably not the best, like I think the vision is where it needs to be. So like eventually, like the hope is, and again, like we got kind of lucky with certain games here and there to get in the top 4. Eventually, you want Bristol Flyers or maybe a more organized team to kind of be in those top 4 spots consistently. But I don't think money. No, I'm not saying I don't want more money. Like no one would say that.
No, but it's not the answer. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For sure. I think also like to stick on Bristol. Once you again, I don't know if you guys have broken. Again, I'm not sure if you know, but if they've broken ground with the building of the new arena. But once they do, and they get that arena up, and they erect the arena, and they get it up and it's built, it will put Bristol automatically in a different tier of teams, of organizations, of franchises in this league. It will put them in the lower half of the ownership tier. So you have teams who have, and that ownership tier is on. There are only 2 teams that are in that. That's Newcastle and Leicester, for the most part. Like, am I wrong? Are there other teams that there aren't? There aren't.
Everyone's striving towards it, but Newcastle and Leicester have led the way.
Newcastle, Leicester. So they'll put them in that tier, but obviously at the bottom end because they haven't won as much, basically. But everything that comes with owning their own and owning their own home and owning their own house and will hopefully feed into. And they've already got an amazing fan base. Like they've already got this amazing fan base, this amazing bustling fan. And to Raphael's point that he made earlier, if they were to knock down that blue wall tomorrow, they'd sell out. They would. We all know that. I think the entire league knows that. But once they do get that arena built, erected, paused and just I had to, and built. They're gonna be in another tier, and I for one, like I said before, I'm a huge fan of everything they got going on business wise. I'm a content guy. I've been working in content for last 12-15 years, so I love the content that they've been doing, they've been producing and putting out, be it the podcast, be it the stuff on YouTube, be it their short form stuff, be it their social media.
Led the way with the way they film the games as well.
They really have. So I like what they do in business wise. I think they're going to be in a new tier. We just have to wait to see it happens, and I hope it happens soon, because again, a team like that, an infrastructure that they've got, and with a player like RAPHELL of his caliber. I want to see those guys in Europe. I want to see these teams. I want to see Newcastle, Leicester,
I'd love to see Raph in Europe knocking bodies flying.
Yeah, Manchester. I want to see Sheffield. I want to see these teams playing in Europe, in European competition, because why not? Because that's where, you have to. These are the best of the best. It doesn't matter whether the Basketball Champions League or whether it's the FIBA Europe Cup. These are the best of the best of their respective leagues, and you want the players in your respective league, in your home league, to be playing against the best of the best across the continent that you're situated in, that you're based in.
Definitely. Well, let's start to wrap things up. I think we're nearly on an hour and a half now, which is good going. But let's just say before we go, so you guys, Raphael, Bristol Flyers, at home in the first leg to London Lions. Tip-off 7:30, May the 6th. That's only a couple of days away. Now, people listening to this, it's probably going to be, from when we record this, it'll be tomorrow, so it's only going to be a couple of days away. Day after that, if all the games are in consecutive days, which I like, so May 7th, day after that, we got the Rocks at home to the Riders. There were some Riders fans not happy with the way that draw's gone down as well. So 2 p.m. in Scotland on the 7th. That's the Friday, isn't it? So that's...
No, I think the Friday's the 6th.
Oh, okay. So that's on the. It's a tough place to get to if you're travelling up in the morning. As a fan, that is anyway. Obviously, the players will probably go the day before, or whatever. But that's going to be tough for fans to get to the Rocks. Then you guys play away. So Bristol away at London Lions, 5:30 tip on the 8th.
I hope to be there.
And then the 9th is the turnaround.
I'm gonna be booing you. I'm gonna be booing you, Raph. Sorry.
I told you don't want us to win. If you want us to win,
oh yeah, you better cheer him. You got to cheer him, otherwise.
Oh yeah, that's true. Let's go, Raph. Let's go.
So we're in the final fours of the playoffs, and it's exciting. I'm enjoying it. And if you haven't used the hashtag, please try and use the hashtag BBL Playoffs, baby, because I've been all in caps as well. I was tweeting that out all weekend, and I think I was the only one doing it, which is fairly standard. But it's been exciting. I'm enjoying this season's playoffs. There's a bit more of a kick to it, I feel.
100%.
Hi, I'm a man. Anything to say before we go?
Anything to say? Thank you, Raph, for coming on the show. Appreciate you, brother. No we appreciate you talking shit about London Lions. And
I'm trying to start some.
Listen, get ready for my tweet tomorrow, boy. Listen, I'm gonna gaslight this whole motherfucking episode, boy. I tell ya. No, seriously. But no, again, appreciate your time, my brother, sincerely. But as a competitor, just to see you back in the UK, really happy for that. Congratulations on your success thus far. Congratulations on your success this season. I wish you much more success going forward. We've all, the whole world has come out of we're still kind of in it, COVID. And I hope you yourself, your family, your friends weren't affected too much. If so, then I'm sorry to hear that. But going forward, I wish you all the best. All the best of health, spiritually, mentally, and see you on the 8th, hopefully.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me on.
We appreciate you giving your time. Yeah,
no problem. It's more of like a conversation, to be honest.
Good man. That's what we aim for.
I enjoy
talking your shit about London Lions. I love it.
Listen, when you guys make the O2, sorry, London Lions fan. When you guys make it to the O2, you got to give us an interview because we'll all be there on a day.
Yeah, 100%.
In our media capacity, hopefully.
That's you.
For sure. Just before we go, keep an eye out on social media because we are going to be having the Below the Rim, the annual awards show that we have where we nominate, we give out our shout for the season awards. This season we're going to pop a survey out there, one of the longer ones, not one of the just 4 selections on Twitter. We're actually going to put a survey out there to get some fan votes on things. There's different categories, obviously MVP, coach of the season, genuine rookie of the year we're going to go for debut season of the year, all the stuff we had last year. But if we get the fans vote as well, and we've got any need, if we have any need for a deciding vote, we'll probably look to that fans vote. So keep an eye on social media. We'll get that out ASAP. And that's it from us. Thanks again, Mr. Raphael Thomas-Edwards, for coming on.
Anytime.
Thanks, Io. Thanks, Ads, as well. Ads, my man, take it easy.
Yeah, man. Raph, I'll check you really soon, man.
Alright, appreciate it, Adam.
Yeah, love to the lovely missus as well.
Yeah,
Sammy Roscoe in the house. Sammy Roscoe. Can't wait to see you.
And Josh Bet as well. I've not heard from him today.
Yeah, my guy Josh.
Give him a buzz, see where he's at. But yeah, till next week. Take it easy. We'll speak to you soon.
Going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We can't be stopped now, cause it's bad boy.
Hey, look, straight from the Harlem streets. I don't play, I push it down with the Harlem heat. All of a sudden, niggas got a problem with me. Black, what happened? They run around acting like the black don't can't eat. And you know what? For some strange reason, I'm off for this medication, feeling deranged, needing for y'all to put the word out. We ain't leaving, we tryna be rich before we all stop breathing. Therefore, we kinda hustle lanes. Stay laying down our muscle games. Still turn niggas' dreams to flames. You got the wire? If not, I ain't saying no names. You soon expire. No pain. I feel remorseless. Of course, it's me and Diddy up first, racing Porsches with the big twin valve exhausters. On the cover of your vibes, double XLs and sauces, bitch.
We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere.
Ain't going nowhere.
We can't be stopped now, cause it's bad boy for life.
We ain't
going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere.
We ain't going
We
nowhere.
can't be stopped now, cause it's bad boy
It
for
ain't
life.
shit changed
Ain't shit
since the notorious.
miss you,
See
bro.
everything still glorious. We still got warriors, still be the victorious. See it's a lot of them, but it's more of us. Still got cash to blow, raps to flow. Still them cats to know, pack the flow. That's for sure. Bottles to pop, joints to rock. Play the background, handle my jock, holding my Glock. Money to get, cars to flip, bars to sit at and sip cognac with juice to drip. Hoes to see, make sure they knowin' it's me.
know it's
Drop
you.
that D, can't believe that I MC. Bad boy to the casket drop,
Bad boy.
gotta love it. Place nothing above it,
Nothing.
it's on like that.
Come on.
Don't believe we ain't going like that. For always gonna be here. We there, every motherfucker's here.
We ain't
Bad boy.
going nowhere. We ain't going
We
nowhere.
ain't going nowhere.
We can't be stopped now, cause it's bad boy for life. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We can't be stopped now, cause it's bad boy for life.
We ain't going nowhere.
Going
We
nowhere.
gonna stay right
We
here
ain't
forever
nowhere.
and ever
We can't be
and
stopped
ever.
now, cause it's bad boy for life.
We ain't going nowhere.
Going nowhere.
We gonna stay right here.
Going nowhere.
We ain't going
We
nowhere.
can't be stopped now,
We
cause
gonna
it's
stay
bad
right
boy
here.
for life. Going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We can't be stopped now, cause it's bad boy for life.